Hello ghosts and ghouls, and welcome to my channel. I am Choking on Ice, but you can just call me Choking. Something you probably don't know about me, because honestly, how could you, is that I love folklore. Just the whole shebang. I love cryptids and creatures and myths and legends. Give me all of it, I love it. Which I know I'm not alone in at all. But I feel like there's just such an oversaturation of the same ones over and over and over again. And to be honest, the story behind a lot of the ones that are really big isn't all that deep or long running. Yes, the idea of Mothman is super cool. The Bigfoot is a big old fuzzy guy in the woods, super fun. But I just want something more, something I can really sink my teeth into. So I decided I'm going to be getting into some really cool lore from up here in the north. Real quick, I do want to preface that these stories I'm going to be talking about are pretty much all from different indigenous tribes throughout the country, and absolutely none of this is to make light of or belittle the beliefs of the tribes and people these stories are connected to, because this is part of many people's belief system and culture, mine included. With that out of the way, let's hop on to the star of this video, with its name translating to shapeshifter in Ijiraq, one of the northern Bathan dialects, the Ijiraq. The tale of the Ijiraq paints a haunting picture of a child-snatching shapeshifter with a natural form resembling a human, but its eyes and mouth sitting sideways on its face. Despite its ability to change form, the Ijiraq's eyes always appear a haunting bright red. It is believed to be an inhabitant of a place between two worlds, not a being of the living, but not quite a creature of the dead. Some even believe that tribes that ventured too far north in hunt of game entered the realm of the Ijiraq and became ones themselves. Damned to an existence as shadow people, cursed with a half-life, now forever treading the north, appearing only in the edge of your vision, hoping to draw the next unfortunate child to stray too far from home, to lure them off and strand them where they too will be trapped between the world of the living and the world of the dead. So the Ijiraq is pretty much like regular person sized. It doesn't seem like it's giant by any like natural cause, as in like its normal natural form is not particularly huge. Which I don't know about anybody else. I think it's scarier to have something that's human sized, or if anything, even like maybe smaller, than it is to have something that is supposedly terrifyingly large. Like when something gets bigger, I do not get more scared of it, if that makes sense. So I don't know, it being like normal person sized feels more intimidating to me. That might just be because overall I am more scared of like a person than I am about anything else. I grew up in an area that had a lot of bears. Bears were as common to me as raccoons are to people in like large cities. So, as in, like, I literally never saw raccoons. There were too many bears. Also, because I don't know how well raccoons did up north. There also just might have been the factor that it was literally too cold for raccoons to be hanging out up there. I actually don't know what climate they like. Either way, I don't feel that overly intimidated by something just by nature of it being large, if that makes sense. Not to say I do not think bears are intimidating. You should not go near them. Bear safety, blah, 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 blah. But because I was raised with all that in mind, bears feel more predictable. Large animals feel kind of predictable. A smaller animal tends to actually, in my opinion, be more chaotic and hard to like discern what they're gonna do. So smaller things scarier to me. I don't think that's like crazy, but I think a lot of people are very rightfully so afraid of larger animals more than anything else. Since this is this creature is found far up north, it's a like legend from the Inuit people, so it would ostensibly want to blend in with the people up there. So I'm putting it in like a like traditional hide like coat, and I don't know what the pants would necessarily be called. I think they might just be called leggings, honestly. because leggings are a historical garment, which is something that people don't necessarily realize, is that leggings have actually been around for a very, very long time. They just used to be made of very, very different material, and had different purposes. Now they are kind of just outerwear clothing. Before they could still like 100% be outerwear clothing, but things got layered with them a lot and stuff too. You know, they've been around for a long time. Is my point. Um, Giving him or them, it's a shadow person. I feel like it doesn't have much of a gender to speak of that, but either way, large mittens, big coat. Um, the the walking stick just feels right to me as well. I feel like, first of all, having a walking stick is good in a lot of cases, especially if you're out in the wilderness. The fact that they're way out in the wilderness makes sense to me. It's like a traveler. It's someone that also possibly got lost and became an Ijiraq. So part of it is that it could have been, people that traveled too far in hunt of game, and that they kind of just got lost out there, or maybe not even potentially lost, but more they got out there and then without realizing they became stuck in this realm. So then they are out trying to lure others out far into the wilderness to try and do the same to them. The fact that they kidnap children and then abandon them in the wilderness is also very interesting. I find there's a lot of folklore out there that there's a bunch of stuff in their legend, and it's like, oh, this beat and this beat and this beat and this fact about them and this fact about them, and then, oh, also they steal kids, which, doesn't always necessarily even feel like it fits, but folklore has always, and this does not diminish like its purpose by any means, but has always been used to impart lessons, and this is included also in like what we consider like modern, larger scale like religion, I guess, because the Inuit belief system is a religion as well. It's just one that is very different than how people are used to things like Christianity being like worshipped and all that. But they've always been used to impart lessons and also just to, teach kids stuff. So the lesson is like, don't here, if you want to like boil it down to, is don't wander too far away from adults and other people. Also, don't follow people you don't know is probably a good one too, where this is like, it's a shadow being that you can't look directly at. So they appear in your peripheral vision, and then they probably just stalk off. They might like follow and try to like, pique your interest, out of the corner of your eye type of thing. But they're not going to be like very. I feel like this coat needs to be a bit longer. They're not going to be like right up in your face trying to get your attention that way, because they can't be. That's also like the shape shifting aspect is, well, they could turn into animals. So if you see an animal that's only appearing out of the corner of your eye, and you can't seem to like ever get a good look at it, don't follow that out and away into the woods either. That one could also boil down to certain animals, don't, like, they're pack animals. They hide. They do this, that. If you go trying to chase it, especially like a child or someone who's younger, maybe in their adolescence, who's just getting into, hunting a little bit more, that's a great lesson to impart of, if you can't actually properly see this animal, but you keep thinking it's going this way and this way, and you keep following it, and you're only seeing it out of the corner of your eye, there's probably a good chance that's because it's watching you. You're not watching it. So, different things like that. These types of coats are pretty loose, so they give a very like wide, soft shape to the body as well, which I think is kind of fun for this creature, because it paints a pretty haunting picture as far as I'm concerned. Like the sideways eyes and mouth, that just sounds like just very like, again, haunting, off-putting. It's very uncanny. You know what? I think that's what it does. I think this is like, it hits in that uncanniness, sort of realm, where this is almost what you would expect like a pretty spooky like alien to maybe look like. I lost my, there we go. Like a very spooky alien. I feel like this is like I want to say pretty good interpretation for like some sort of body snatchers alien type, or not interpretation, inspiration for like a body snatchers alien type of flick. However, I would not want to see it used that way personally. I think that a lot of folklore and legend, especially from indigenous communities or maybe from communities that are very spiritual, that are not, part of the Christian mindset, or maybe not the American Christian mindset. These ones gets very misinterpreted, and then sadly they are taken not only at face value by audiences who think that it's a documentary, like perfectly encapsulating what is actually like what this belief system actually is about, but also the fact that then other movies will be like, if it gets popular, oh, well, we can just do a retelling of this retelling, and then the next one will do a retelling of that retelling, and then so on and so on. And it becomes this game of telephone where you lose so much of the actual meaning and purpose. And it's really, but beyond the fact that it's not even a shell of what it once was, it's just nothing to do with what it was before. There is a particular creature in indigenous folklore that I will not say the name of, as I am just superstitious enough to not want to do that. But it's been incorrectly portrayed as this like very like large hulking monster with the skull of a like caribou or stag, and this like unnatural like large like body with large claws, which just simply has nothing to do with that legend at all, like not even a little bit. Until Dawn, great game. Again, not really like that one. If anything, at the very least it's a unique take. It's not just the like stag head creature that the Stephen King like gets the Stephen King treatment sort of thing. I can't remember actually if it's Stephen King that was kind of the impetus of that misrepresentation. So if it's not, don't come for me. I just remembered that Pet Sematary really leaned on all that too, which, you know what, actually, I don't care if you come for me on that one. Pet Sematary doing the whole quote-unquote cursed Indian burial like ground, not great. Not awesome. They need to stop doing that. It's really weird. It's a really terrible shtick from like horror as far as I'm concerned. Especially just given it tends to also include like the like, very convenient indigenous elder who's there to spoon feed information to the main characters, and it just like none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. All of it's terrible. It's never great. Supernatural also did it. Not good. Bad. I can't even get into it. It's too annoying. So, all that to say, I wouldn't want to see this used as inspiration for other movies and stuff. I just feel like it would get really twisted in a way that wouldn't be, honestly, just wouldn't be fun, because this is like very unique. It's a very interesting, unique sort of creature as far as I'm concerned. It's a shadow person that's kind of given that it's like a shadow person, it lives between worlds. It strikes me as it being half spirit and half not. And spirits can be like benevolent, maybe not necessarily good, but at the very least neutral in a lot of lore. Which also speaks to the fact that this isn't only an evil creature. Apparently they are very deceitful. They are kind of like tricksters in that way. Not the playful type of trickster, but more just be careful what you say, maybe you'll accidentally sell your soul type trickster. But apparently they can be benevolent as well, and also a kidnapped child can essentially trick them or like bargain their way out of their kind of clutches in some way or another, which I find interesting as well. There's like one of those things where I think it's like there's multiple tellings of it, so that always affects how you see it, how it gets just developed. Like, over time, things just change and develop, and that's totally natural. So the fact that it both can't be seen, like from the front, like you cannot actually spot it that way, yet also if a child is kidnapped, there's a chance they could talk their way out and trick them. Very interesting. It gives a lot of different things to me. It could be just that their behavior changes once they've lured a child far enough away. Who knows? Yeah, nice big puffy coat. If they're way up north, gotta have all those layers. Though it is a shapeshifter, so who knows? Maybe it's not even affected by the cold, but I don't know. I still think, at the very least, to blend in its human form, it would make sense to want to do that. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that. All right, now on to like kind of the harder part here, which is the face. So again, it's a shadow person. So part of me doesn't want to put like outside of I want to have a very like clearly human silhouette. I almost don't want to put too many like strong facial details in there though, just because the uncanniness feels important to me. Like the fact that it doesn't have distinct. I was trying to say a different word and it's too hard right now. I kind of like the idea of it not having like super distinct qualities. Like you wouldn't be able to describe its nose or its ears, but you'd remember its sideways facial features, that's for sure. Good God, yeah, this would be horrifying to see. Also, though, I think some of the scariness also would definitely come from the fact that just seeing eyes like this sideways with all of the details that eyes have is really creepy. It kind of looks like a weird penguin right now to me, actually, where it's like this would be the little beak. Does that make sense? Like little boop. Maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy. Anyway. Yeah. I'm trying to make light of this because it's staring into my soul right now. So, I'm torn between almost too much detail or not enough detail. I feel like both can be really eerie. I feel like I need to find that play where it's like certain features very, very defined and certain features are just not. So, let's try to get right up in there. Which way do you think it would blink? Would its upper eyelid be on the outside and then its like lower lid be here, or would its upper lid be on the inside? Which one's creepier? Huh. I don't know. Let's see. Versus I don't know. I think upper lid on the inside might be a little creepier. Just to me. Something. I'm thinking about the motion overall, like versus like the actual effect it has while open. Just the motion of how it blinks, like it going, like the larger lid going outward versus inward. So also we'd have, so it's looking over its shoulder, so you gotta have a little bit more whites to the eyes. I also want to keep I feel like, there's an instinct when something's spooky to give it a, like, slitted eye. That happens a lot, which I get. I totally get it. A lot of, like, predators have slitted eyes, snakes and cats and stuff like that, and it feels very non-human. But I think the thing that makes this creepy is the human aspects. It does shapeshift, again, it's not impossible that it would look different. Oh god, teeth. Okay. Huh. Oof. Yeah, maybe like that. And then I'm gonna have to like get in there and like really outline these teeth, I think, because I feel like that's gonna be a big part of what makes it look spooky. Because I do want this to look creepy. I'm not a horror illustrator, actually. I kind of have never done anything intentionally scary before, really, ever. So this is my first shot at this. Okay, that's not too bad. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Also, I want to say that if you like on your own decide to look this up, you are going to find a lot of images of a half caribou kind of man. Like it looks like a anthropomorphized caribou, essentially, which is a different creature. I will put the name up on the screen. I cannot pronounce it is the problem, and I don't have it in front of me at the moment, and I don't want to just totally make something up by accident. So here it is. I'll slide it on. But this is a similar creature in some ways. It is another shadow creature or shadow person type creature, like it's of that sort of domain, and it's uh, ooh, they look like they're looking in very different directions. There we go. And it like I think kind of just treads the same area. Like it's got a similar dwelling. Because it's a shadow person, my guess is it is also in that realm between worlds. It is less spirity seeming to me, though, just given that it has a much more distinct form, I guess. Our version of spirits also is much more like mist and intangibility, I feel like, where other versions of spirits in different cultures and different eras of time really have all been more or not have all been, but many of them have been more tangible. So this one is definitely a more tangible spirit creature, if that makes sense. So, you know, I also can't say that that's just not what a spirit is like, because obviously that's just so up for debate. Hmm. Maybe giving it a small nose, actually, like a really like high up, kind of pointed nose like this. Ooh, yeah. Okay, I'm kind of liking this actually. Like really, really little. Yeah. Okay, nice. Yes. I don't know. That feels. Is it weird that I think just a really tiny nose is adds to the creepiness? I don't know why, but sure. Huh? Would it have eyebrows? Does that make it weird? No, that just looks weirdly shocked. No, it looks too cartoony. It looks like a Beavis and Butthead thing if I do that. I've never watched that show. Um, I think I was trying to get at. Oh, right. So there's another creature that is kind of similar. It's got a very different form, though. It does not have the sideways facial features as well. And if it's capable of shapeshifting, I actually can't remember at the moment. But when it shapeshifts, I don't believe it has the stark red eyes either. So it might be better at shapeshifting. Also, though, that one might only be capable of shapeshifting into a caribou. Whereas I think if you see a caribou out the side of your eye that looks strange, and like don't follow it, or if you see a person, like when you look at them, but then if you turn to like the side out of your peripheral vision, you won't see the silhouette of a person. You'll see the silhouette of a caribou. You know what, that one actually I think that one might be the actual case. My bad. And then there wasn't enough information on this aspect. What I was able to find though was that since this other creature, sorry again, I just can't remember how to say it right now. So this one seems to live in villages, like actual just full villages, and has like a family and neighbors and a house. It like hunts and owns things, I guess. So I'm not sure if that means it does that within the community of just all other creatures are like that. So it's like you could come across a village that is all shadow people, which would make sense based on the fact that it's like, okay, if a tribe went too far north, then they are trapped and become like this. Then that makes total sense. If that's the case, I do wonder if that's the case for the Ijiraq as well. If the Ijiraq are a type of creature that kind of has its own homestead and is trying to lead children back there. Maybe they, who knows? Maybe they're not capable of reproducing naturally. Maybe this is how they keep their population up. I feel like that puts way too much like thought into the sort of like society that they would have then, though. So, you know, I don't feel the need to like try and figure that out. I'm all right without it. And I just like having this scraggly hair out. I feel like just stringy hair across the face is just by nature. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's just the. I think it's just the effect that Sadako, like the girl from like The Ring, has had on culture. Really, that and like cursed Victorian children, I guess. Also, though, Inuit people did pretty like meticulously braid their hair and tie it back very well so it wouldn't get in their face because like if you've ever had a fur-lined hood in your life, which it's fair if you haven't, your hair gets so terribly stuck to you. So I wouldn't be shocked if they kind of just didn't want to have to deal with that and all the frizziness that would come with it. So maybe this is just like this guy's not taking great care of his hair. Maybe he takes great care of his teeth though. And now I'll just throw in a little bit of a background. I don't feel the need to get too into the weeds on this. I'm picturing this thing just wants to lead you out into icy tundra. Just no nothing nearby. No civilization out here, no family or tribes, nothing but wilderness and ice and probably a lot of polar bears. Just which very scary by the way. Polar bears real cute in theory, very terrifying creatures truly. Um I'm not from that far north. Like I've never encountered them, don't get me wrong. Those as far as bears go, those would scare me a bit more. They are if you come across one, they are much less used to people, so they tend to be more aggressive by a lot. So polar bears actually tend to lean more dangerous than grizzlies or black bears, where grizzly bears have a bit of a calmer temperament and are they tend to just kind of show up around people more. They live closer to people. They're not as spooked by them. That's also why Pisleys so dangerous. It's when grizzlies and polar bears mate, they end up with offspring that is more comfortable being around people, but still has like high aggression. So yeah, very dangerous. Climate change, scary. That's the real horror here. Yeah, yeah, that's right. I got climate political, I guess. I'm just gonna go ahead and like under this, just throw in like a general sense of the not color scheme, but the values. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, whoops. Whatever. Just a general sense of the values. So I'm picturing this leading someone off or trying to lead someone off at night. Or maybe just like low light. It could be like early morning too. Kid wakes up before everybody else. This thing is just lurking kind of on the edge. Maybe the tribe has moved recently a little bit too close to the edge of their like realm. Again, it's described as two worlds, like two different worlds, the world of the living, the world of the dead. So, since it seems like they tread a very physical land, I'm gonna just go with that. And at first I was going to do like a darker, because the shadow people, like it makes me think like a darker, wispy, ghastly sort of face, like its physical body. Yes, it's wearing like a full snowsuit, but its actual physical body is not fully tangible, like it's a bit more amorphous. That was my original plan, but I'm thinking with how I have it drawn now, I do kind of like the idea of it having like a very pallid, like starkly pale face, which would be very alarming. Just look at this, like, so it's like the moon. It's like the moon in a dark sky sort of thing, where it's like in the low light, it just kind of like glows at you. And then I'll give it like the one of the darker values to just its walking stick, and Then, you know what? Yeah, I'm not doing colors right now, but let's get in like that nice, yeah, nice in quotes, like haunting red eyes there. See, I like the idea of giving it pupils and everything and irises, but I really like the idea that its full eye is red, and then it's just got some hue variation right in there. Maybe like like right back to that super bright red for the pupil. Just like that. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's good. All right. And now I will fade into the render. Okay, this actually turned out pretty cool, I think. Like I said, I'm very new to drawing scary creatures or settings or anything of that variety. I really love horror and really just spooky media of all kinds, but this is my first little toe dip into trying to make anything myself. Hopefully, this lives up to the haunting image that the Ijiraq legends depict and to what you guys were picturing in your head when you heard about it. This was super fun to make. I love diving into stories like this. It feels like such a unique and interesting glimpse into history. The Ijiraq is a really cool being in and of itself. I feel like nowadays we don't really see anything about undead creatures that are half spirit. Mostly it's just purely physical things like zombies, vampires, the odd Frankenstein's monster, and I guess mummies. So something that breaks the mold, given that when it was originally being told there was no mold to speak of, is super fun. So this was my take on the Ijiraq. I hope you enjoyed. If there's something I missed and didn't mention, or if you have another lesser-known folktale or creature to recommend, please let me know in the comments. I hope you had fun watching this. It would mean so much to me if you dropped a like or subscribed. We are getting into the colder months, so please beware any red-eyed creatures trying to lure you out into the snow. And I will see you next time.